Serious cases of abuse and police authority often stimulate intense public debates. For example, a videotape of Rodney King being beaten by Los Angeles police officers or reports of the torture of Abner Luma by New York City police capture the public's attention and raise troubling questions constantly. These questions regard the limitations of legitimate police authority regarding police force in specifics. The question is, are such events isolated occurrences in particular police departments, or are these problems plaguing our society? Are police force being used constantly with or without reason? That is the question, and I believe that police force should not be used. I am standing for the negative. Within the police force, there is something called the code of silence. This basically means when you see your fellow officer doing something which falls outside of the conduct code or is a form of misconduct under your police rights and things that you've been told to do, you turn a blind eye. So it's basically like not snitching, but this has become a recurring problem, which has been shown to actually cause police force to be used without being reported, or when it is reported, other officers are not coming forward and speaking on the behalf of these victims. In the United States, the use of deadly force by sworn law enforcement officers is lawful when the officer reasonably believes that the subject possesses a significant threat of serious bodily injury, of death, or threat to themselves or others. Yet this has not been the current use, and it actually has been abused in recent in recent cases. Police brutality with the Black Lives Matter movement, with other things, like the whole formation of the Black Lives Matter movement came from the resurgence of police brutality. Like, police specifically have been shown in certain cases that there's internalized hatred of race or of perceived race for people who are inherently perceived as violent or dangerous. So this is basically biases and racism that police can carry with them as individuals and bring onto the job. And this is what makes excessive force against an individual particularly dangerous for those minorities who are targets of this excessive force. And in another case with Eric Gardner, he was selling bootleg items outside of a store, and police came over to the scene, and he was put in a chokehold by an officer. This chokehold took his life. This was excessive force used. But in most all these cases that I've mentioned, it has been minorities. Not only just minorities, these have been minority males. People who have been viewed as dangerous, as threats to society, because of not just who they are, but because of their skin tone, because of their skin color, and prejudices which these officers have been taken into the workplace and have taken lives. So I feel as if excessive force should not be used, especially without clear guidelines around it. We're saying when a threat is felt, how can you tell me I may feel threatened differently than you feel threatened? So I may use excessive force in this situation, but you may not. We need to have a clear guideline as to what a threat means, especially when it comes to terms with people's lives, and especially when innocent people are dying and people of color are being targeted. In one of the most recent cases, on May 25th, 2020, this current year, Minneapolis police officers arrested George Floyd, a 46-year-old Black man, after a convenience store employee called 911 and told the police that Mr. Floyd had bought cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill. Now, this is a minor offense, as many of us know, and for some reason, within 17 minutes of that call, Mr. Floyd was pinned under 3 officers and lost his life there under them, showing no signs of life. Now, these officers used excessive force in order to control the situation, but in controlling the situation, they ended up killing I'm not going to say an innocent man, because we don't know what happened with that $20 bill, but regardless of the $20 bill, the counterfeit bill, whatever was going on, that excessive force, which caused someone to lose their life, was inappropriate, ill-timed, ill-planned. That was not, I'm pretty sure that's not what any of them learned in the academy.